You might be thinking, okay, so what are the criteria when we think about building out a micro pathway? What do we need to be considering here? So these are really the 8 bumpers that we leverage when we think about building out those micro pathway experiences. So it's critical that each micro pathway have 2 or more credentials that stack toward a degree, which we just talked about, and that has to align to regional labor market data that is then validated by employers in your community. So we start by having that broader conversation around data, maybe statewide, maybe a region of your state, and then we bring it down into that funnel and we end by validating it with real employers in your community who said, yes, we are hiring for these positions. They validate the salary or the wage, and they talk about turnover. How often are they hiring for these positions to give you a true snapshot of what that opportunity will look like and ensure that when you create this micro pathway, when you graduate learners or you have completers, that there are jobs for them at the end of that. So we want to validate that with employers in your community. Each micro pathway has to be able to be completed in 1 year or less. Again, we're about short-term hyper-focused experiences. We also encourage flexible format and multimodal delivery systems. So how are you offering this opportunity to your learners? How can we get creative and be able to serve an increasingly diverse learner population in this micro pathway? What are those opportunities? And can we push a little bit on what we know to be true today? Of course, affordability is critical, and that is very subjective. Affordability can mean a lot of different things. Part of what we do in this process is, think about your state level initiatives. Where are their dollars coming from? We might think about WIOA funding and other state level programs that support workforce programs, and how might we align the work that you're doing with micro pathways to your state level initiatives that might support funding for your learners. They have to be digitally discoverable, meaning that a badge or certificate of completion is accessible to a learner who can then present that to a prospective employer who can click on that and see the skills and competencies that a learner's been able to successfully demonstrate as a result of completing that micro pathway. And lastly is that critical integration of technical and durable skills to ensure that holistic approach to the learner academic experience and preparedness for these jobs. We want to make sure that learners are not only technically prepared, but that they're also prepared to be good employees and that they are, aware of the different things that they're going to need to demonstrate from a durable skills perspective. Now, it's important to note that we talked a lot about the employer engagement piece of this, but just as critical and maybe even more so, you'll also go through the process of learner persona development. There is a great deal of opportunity to gather learner insights and feedback, and we start by doing a deep understanding of who the learners are in your community. And you'll hear a little bit about that in the following modules. We do that, we validate those learner populations, and we continue to bring those real-life humans to the forefront throughout the design process to ensure that we are develop micro pathways and support services that facilitate learner success, and not just one type of learner, but the vast diversity of learners that you aim to serve in your communities. And again, this is an opportunity to think differently. While micro pathways are the beautiful end product of this, truly the secret sauce of this design process is the transformation and innovation that comes as a result.